For pour painting, you're gonna need a wide open space, probably some newspapers or something to cover your work area because it gets really messy. Some small cups to mix your paints in. I got these from my job. And some bigger cups if you want to do a flip cup paint, which I'll talk more about that later. Paints, of course. The best paints for this are the fluid paints, golden fluids. These are just like more liquidy, so they flow better. But as you can see here, I have lots of different kinds of paints. And most importantly, you're gonna need pouring medium. I use Liquitex pouring medium. I don't even know if there's a different kind because I've only ever used this kind. And something that really helps, especially if you have lots of different paints like me, is Flow Aid. It makes your thicker, chunkier paints, like this comes out really thick. It makes those more liquid, and then you can mix in the pouring medium and you're good to go. You can pour your paints. Other things I recommend using, I use the end of this old paintbrush to mix my paints, and a palette knife comes in handy. Mine has definitely seen better days, but as you can tell, it gets a lot of use, and I'll show you exactly how I use it later. Okay, so what you see here is all of my paints. They are in their own little cups, and I'm going to add Flow Aid to them to get them to a nice liquidy consistency so that they flow, obviously, to mix together on the canvas. I like to get all my paints ready and then start pouring. So I get all my paints, I put all my paints in the cup, and then I always do like Flow Aid first and then the pouring medium, because if I do like Flow Aid on one and then the pouring medium and then Flow Aid in the next one and then pouring medium, I will probably forget which ones I have put what in. And this is just one way I like to keep myself straight. Most of my paints are different consistencies. This one is pretty thick, and this one's like pretty liquidy, as you can see. So you just add a different amount to each cup. That way they're all pretty similar consistency when you're done mixing. See, now it's a nice flowy kind of consistency. And I have a tissue here to wipe off my paintbrush between colors. There are a lot of different ways people do pour paintings. Like, I've done quite a bit of research on it because I've been trying to perfect it over a while. And although there's a lot of home remedies that people have, I feel like just buying the like Flow Aid and the pouring medium that they sell that's already made for you is a lot easier. You get nicer paintings out of it. These solutions don't dilute your color at all, which is the nicest thing about them, honestly, because like people use PVA glue and stuff as a pouring medium, but that can dry kind of white and give your paintings like a white cast and dull down your colors. And with pour paintings, you really want like vibrant, fun colors. Okay, now is for the fun part. So pour paintings, there is no really like rhyme or reason in the way that you pour them. You can pour all of your colors in a cup and flip it, which is a flip cup pour, but I'm not a fan of doing those. I like to kind of like just streak my colors on however I please and see where it takes me. So that's what I'm gonna do. Whoops. So I've got all the paint down, and what I like to do is just kind of like tilt my canvas and let the paint kind of do its own thing. As you can see, it just runs. It's okay if it runs off. That happens. And some of your colors will get buried, sadly. You can always go back and add some more. See how we have some blank areas here? I'm going to go back and add a little bit of paint just to fill that in. And I'm going to add a shit ton of gold because I like the gold. And I just kind of like swirl my canvas around. It's not like a science or anything behind it. See how it's turning out? And then I just set it down and let it dry. As you can see here on the edge, there are some places that didn't get covered with paint. That's where your palette knife will come in handy. There's going to be paint beneath your canvas that dripped off, and you can just scoop it up and kind of like place it in the edges wherever you don't have enough paint, and it fills it in pretty nicely. Okay, and that is the finished product of one of them. I'll go ahead and do another one for you guys. This one I'm going to do some beige, some peach, some white, and some gold. Oh shit. I'm gonna let that run. And I just try to cover like all the corners pretty much. Like I tilt it to one corner, then I tilt it to another, you know. Then you can add some more colors wherever you see fit. It's really just whatever you want to do. The most important thing is like having the right materials, which would be the Liquitex. I spilled some gold paint, so what I'm going to do is pick it up on my palette knife and flick it onto it. So now you can let it flow a little bit more. Ooh. This one turned out really freaking cool, guys. Oops, that sucks. So yeah, this is the final product. Just a fair warning, your hands are gonna be covered in paint. There's nothing you can do about it. You're gonna be touching this stuff and it's gonna make your hands really, really messy. But, you know, it's fun. It's something to do. I'm actually making these as Christmas presents. I'm gonna put other things on them and give them to my friends and my family, and I think they'll really enjoy it, so that's awesome. They turned out great. I'm really excited. A couple important things to know are that, one, your paints are going to be different consistencies and different weights. Some paints might lift to the top, some might sink to the bottom, depending on the pigments in the paint. You'll also want to use a lacquer. Liquitex, the same brand that I use for the other stuff, has lacquers. There's a medium gloss lacquer and a high gloss lacquer, and I personally like the high gloss lacquer because it helps the metallics like the gold and the silver stand out more. But other than that, you can let these dry and then paint over them, put a word or something on it, make it look really cool. These are really fun and easy to do. You don't really need to have any kind of artistic skill. You just have to have the right supplies and know what to do. So here are these. They're drying. As you can tell, there's some really cool cells going on. This is what happens when your paints are different consistencies and they sink to the bottom and stuff. And some float to the top. There's lots of cool lines going on and stuff. And then here's this one. This one's really cool. The black kind of came to the top. This gold looks really cool there. There's some really cool cells happening right here where the black came through the gold. So yeah, that looks really cool. Here's one I did before that has dried. There's no gloss on this one, and as you can see, the metallics are still pretty metallic, but not super standout-ish, and that's what we want out of a metallic. So if you add the gloss, it definitely helps. And here is a finished product of one. This is one of my favorite ones. That's a Joan of Arc, and look how the gold stands out with the gloss on it. It's really cool, right? And a fun thing to do with pour paintings is use them as a background and either paint or put cutouts on top of them. That's what I usually do. I don't usually just leave them as a pattern even though they already look beautiful like that. But yeah, just a tip. The varnishes I was talking about. This one is a high gloss varnish, and as you can see it has a V for varnish. And then this one is a gloss medium and varnish. So you could actually use this. You see it says F, fluid medium. You could use a big bottle of this as your fluid medium and you could pour your paints with that. But I like the pouring medium because it definitely helps the consistency. But these, I use both of them interchangeably to varnish my paintings, and they really help.